So now let's talk a little bit about pelvic stability. The pelvis is one of the first things that we talk about when teaching Pilates because it's really the base of your spine. It's also where your abdominals insert, so it's very important to have a strong, stable base to work from. We're going to start just with a pelvic clock, pretending that the tops of the hips are 12 o'clock and the tip of your tailbone is 6 o'clock. Start by imprinting 12 o'clock into the mat, tightening your seat and pulling your lower abdominals in. And then keeping the lower abdominals drawn down towards the mat, extend the tailbone, lengthening it back down, but without losing that engagement. And again, press 12 o'clock into the mat, curling the tailbone to the backs of the knees and engaging the seat. And then keeping 12 o'clock anchored, extend and reach 6 o'clock back down. Again, curl. Some of you might find that as you're following along at home, this is a little bit tight back there if you have a very stiff lower back. This is a good way to start to mobilize and find what we call neutral spine or neutral pelvis. So go ahead and do one more. Anchor the lower spine, maintain the anchoring, lengthen the tailbone back down into the mat. So now we're in our neutral spine or neutral pelvis, where the tops of the hips are anchored, but so is the tailbone. And what's keeping those 2 points of contact is the abdominal connection that we found earlier in the breath. Now we're going to do some pelvic walks. So start to slide the right foot forward, keeping that anchoring of the pelvis. Then left and right. Keep the shoulders back. Chin slightly tilted towards the ceiling, and you can see John is doing a really good job of maintaining this lower abdominal connection. Then he's going to walk back slowly, making sure that there's no shift front to back in the pelvis. Now as he goes a second time, walking out, I'm also looking for a shift side to side. If there's any asymmetry in the hips, we want to try to work to keep them square and symmetrical. We'll go ahead and do one more set. Just as I had said earlier, if you have a tight lower back, you might find that you're not able to go out as far with your legs as John is, and that's totally fine. You work within a range of motion that keeps your pelvis stable. So you'll find in the beginning of your Pilates practice that this neutral spine or neutral pelvis position is something that we're going to visit often. We might work into it and away from it, but knowing how to anchor your pelvis properly is really important to create a strong abdomen.